Hey everyone, JCS Starcraft here, bringing you I think this is just a friendly match or something, between KiWiKaKi and QXC. KiWiKaKi as the yellow Protoss and QXC as the purple Terran, a great color for Terran. I kind of like purple Thors, I'm not sure why. Possibly because, anyways, I'm getting off track here. QXC might be going for some sort of 3 racks into medvac. KiWiKaKi doesn't want him to do that, so it tells him to ask Druby, another very, very strong Terran player. KiWiKaKi, both players are part of the Root Gaming clan, which is why I think this is kind of a friendly match between the two. I might be wrong, maybe they have some sort of rivalry going on, but we'll see what's going on. QXC right now ranked something, at the time of this video, he was ranked 6th in the world. That ranking coming from sc2ranks.com. So definitely a very, very, very high level player, very active in the beta, and a very strong player overall. Meanwhile, KiWiKaKi is actually ranked 12th, so, and at some point actually held the top spot on the SC2 ranks. So both players incredibly good at what they do, which is StarCraft 2 right now. QXC looked like he's going for a pretty standard build, 12 racks, and what I assume is going to be possibly gas on 13. There we go, it went down as I went away. KiWiKaKi doing a pretty standard Protoss build as well. Going to be chrono boosting his probes out and just kind of scouting around in this base as much as possible. QXC building his barracks here. I kind of like this barracks placement. Stops that really early harassment and allows you to keep one of your SCVs mining. QXC hasn't scouted right now, and I think it's because he's just going to take a gander because of that timing of that scout coming into his base, that KiWiKaKi was just straight across. And let's see where he runs with his SCV. He is correct. It is right across, and I think if you've played a while, you can kind of get a sense of how long a scout takes to go from, across the map, or how long a scout takes to go right across. And good guess by QXC. Now able to get in, getting that late scout on, probably having just, a little bit of a slight economic difference for getting that scout out a little bit later, but still good for him getting his first, throwing down the, going to be researching the concussive shells for the Marauder, so looks like he's going to be going Marauder and stealing that gas from KiWiKaKi. Very annoying for the Protoss player to deal with, but kind of just holding off, trying to gain an advantage as much as possible, continuing to build, so just getting off of it and running around, although he's going to go down in like another hit, so should probably abandon that. I don't know if he, it looks like he abandoned it right before it was destroyed by that Zealot right now. QXC now just pumping out his Marauders, getting a nice little army going, and at some point going to be just waiting until he gets, I think, a small contingent to kind of push out right now. Then I think going to be throwing down the factory while this little army goes out and pokes around KiWiKaKi's base. Going to apply that early pressure. KiWiKaKi just now going to be going 1 gate into Robo Facility, so only has this Zealot out in the field to deal with things. So QXC going to be running in with 2 Marauders, a Marine, and a whole bunch of SCVs. Possibly going to be throwing down a bunker in the base. Going to be pretty difficult to deal with right now. Hope this Immortal comes out a little quicker. KiWiKaKi has to pull off some of his SCVs to join the battle as well. And if this bunker finishes, it might be pretty bad news for KiWiKaKi at this point. The concussive shells are making this Zealot a very difficult, and a Reaper runs in to add fun to the whole mix. The bunker is still being constructed. Will anything survive enough to... Yes, it will, and but the Immortal does come out in time, trying to repair that bunker, and the Immortal is just going to be taking blasts from both sides, but huge damage on that structure. And now that it's gone down, I think this is going... KiWiKaKi is going to be able to hold off on both sides. So taking a quick look over at the Incon tab, both players having to sacrifice a few of their mining units, so a very early push by QXC to try to end things early, but KiWiKaKi able to respond and pull up just enough units to handle that. Curious whether or not QXC just kind of knows his fellow clan member knows whether or not that's just the type of build that he likes to do, or he likes to send out and kind of push that early pressure in the beginning. Now both players, I think, going to be transitioning over to their mid game. KiWiKaKi at this point knows that his opponent doesn't have that much going on right now, but KiWiKaKi is going to be sending a War Prism with the Immortal, the very injured Immortal inside, and going to be doing a drop. So good timing by KiWiKaKi. Knows that his opponent probably going to be either transitioning or possibly bulking of his army. Right now KiWiKaKi is going to be focusing on that expansion and just going to be flying around right now. This is his counterattack on the original. KiWiKaKi drops into the bunker, but that's not going to be a good spot. And the Immortal just going to be doing as much damage as possible. Microing that Immortal, dropping excellent micro control, just picking up and dropping that unit. Kind of like how you see a lot of how Terran does it too. And a great job, able to just kind of pick it up and drop it off right now. Down goes the tech lab, and KiWiKaKi now in pretty good shape. There's only a single Marine out on the field, and with this mobility able to pick up and just do a good amount of damage, but these SCVs just won't let that Immortal land. I don't think that Immortal has a lot of power right now, so you can't really be dropping it. Going back to KiWiKaKi's base while this is going on, getting the 2 more war gates, so going 3-gate robo, and that great use of this War Prism, just kind of using it to warp in a few units as well, and using that early harass. So I really enjoy that play by KiWiKaKi. I don't see it that much. You really just see War Prisms used to be that proxy pylon, but bringing his units in and forcing KiWiKaKi to really kind of focus in his base, has not even lifted off his command center yet. I mean, this command center really isn't doing... Oh, he is pumping out SCVs with the command center, so double command center by KiWiKaKi in the base, and I think now he will have enough units to deal with this threat. That concussive shell doing an awesome job for KiWiKaKi, holding back the Zealots and allowing those Marines to really kite them as much as possible. KiWiKaKi, I think waiting for that cooldown to happen so he can summon in more units right now. Now the Stalkers are coming out, making it a little bit more difficult for KiWiKaKi to kite with his single Marauder and several Marines out there right now. KiWiKaKi just trying everything he can to hold off this attack on his base, using both his command centers to pump it out and running his SCVs in to absorb the damage, kind of contain those Zealots, and finally able to push out KiWiKaKi. So great job by KiWiKaKi, keeping his cool. Doesn't pull off, pulls off just the right amount of SCVs so he can continue mining, continue pumping out units at his base. And KiWiKaKi, I think, has to abandon that right now. KiWiKaKi has massed up enough ground units to hold off any sort of Warp Prism summoning in. So going to be mounting up outside, and meanwhile has taken the time to take his expansion as well. Great early pressure from both sides. And now going to be just kind of a bunch of sentries here. Yes, he does wall off the ramp. And there goes the command center. Command center not going to be able to land. And just going to be using these sentries to hold off the ground unit of KiWiKaKi right now. KiWiKaKi can't really go anywhere. There is an opening right now. I don't know if KiWiKaKi sees it. He does. I don't know if he wants to take advantage of that. KiWiKaKi summoning in more sentries. I think he's just going to hold it off. He's not going to allow KiWiKaKi to take an expansion, and going to be pulling ahead on the macro level too. Throwing down a Twilight Council right now. KiWiKaKi hasn't massed a ton of units. I think he's just been focusing on trying to keep the Terran player on KiWiKaKi contained, and mostly going with this. Has 6 sentries sitting in front of the ramp. Is it going to be enough to hold it off? It looks like he's going to be able to rotate through his sentries to keep the Terran player choked in his own base. KiWiKaKi has not transitioned. I don't think he has a tech lab on his factory, or did his factory go down? I think his factory might have gone down during that. I was too excited watching what the game was going on. So right now only has 5 barracks, and now it is throwing down a factory without any sort of air or siege tank. it looks like KiWiKaKi is going to be able to hold QXE in here for a while. So forcing Terran to go on one base. Meanwhile, oh, QXE has built Reapers to get out of there. Very smart move by QXE. Being able to just run down the ramp, but now just trying to get down there, and he just can't do it. These Reapers have done significant amounts of damage to KiWiKaKi's economy. And the KiWiKaKi probably just pulled off. We'll see that harvester count update in just a second. And KiWiKaKi is just holding off QXE at this point, not letting him get through at all, and just going to be working on getting his economy back up. Although that Reaper attack was, I think, a little bit unexpected by KiWiKaKi. Great move by QXE to kind of get out of there. And now going to be moving his command center somewhere else, because if he can't land at his natural, he can just fly it off somewhere else to one of the powers of Terran. Now building just a whole bunch more Reapers, the only units that can get out of his base at this point, and going to be trying to do more harass here. KiWiKaKi has gotten Templars and is researching Psystorm, so we'll see if these Reapers can do more damage. 4 Reapers right now, not that much in the base of KiWiKaKi. Only these Templars, and they're just going to go down really fast. They don't even have Psystorm ready to cast too, so a whole bunch of probes going down. There are Stalkers out right now, and these Stalkers will pretty much end the lives of these Reapers pretty quickly, but these Reapers have paid for their worth, considering that QXE can't even get out of his base. Great transition by QXE to get the Reapers out. And now, finally throwing down a tech lab. Has been spending all his gas getting Reapers, and finally throws down a tech lab. Going to be getting a siege tank sometime soon. But meanwhile, has landed his command center elsewhere. Tired of having that command center not doing anything. The Reaper's still alive. Let's see how many more they can pick off before they go down. This Reaper with 2 and 8 kills on this one. So finally the pestering Reaper army is going down. And somehow, even on 2 base, KiWiKaKi is still behind on QXE. I guess QXE does have a second base right now, which is just mostly all his mules are mining. And KiWiKaKi doing a great job, just constantly coming back here. I don't know what the timing is on that. He just keeps jumping back and throwing down these force fields. But it looks like that siege tank is coming out soon. So QXE does have a pretty menacing army too. You know, if he can break out of here, KiWiKaKi doesn't really have too much. It's the farm count right now 94 to 76. I think KiWiKaKi is just trying to focus on macroing